Hey everybody, Daniel here from Basement Tech. Sorry for the weird angle, but I wanted you to see my face and the new controller in the same frame. Since our last video, I've completed the build, put a cover on it, and moved it down here to the shop, put it in place, connected everything up, and gave it some test jogs. Hopefully today's going to be our first project, so let me spin around and I'll show you some more details of the install. Well, here you are, the controller in place. I'm going to zoom in a little bit and you can see maybe it looks like there isn't a cover, but in fact maybe I can come over here and you'll see a little dirt. It's a plexiglass cover with an aluminum frame, and that big piano hinge over there on the left is what lets it open and close. The good news is I don't have to open it because you can see right through it and see all of the components in place that we've been working on over the past few months. Let me slide around to the side. If you remember the connector panel, that worked out spectacularly. All I did was bring it down and plug everything in, as opposed to having to, strip and use terminal blocks and all of that kind of thing. That made really quick work of it, and I plugged it in, and lo and behold, it actually worked. Once the basic operation of the machine was confirmed, it was time to work on our first project. This is a package called Vectric Aspire. It's great for designing wood carving projects. You lay out vectors and sort of like 3D clip art, and then render it in 3D. Finally, through its, I guess you'd call it CAM software, computer aided manufacturing, you ultimately generate these G-code files. There's a roughing pass, a finish pass, a V-carve, which adds the letters, and profiling, which cuts it all out. Let's take them down in the machine and see what happens. Wow, there you saw it. The first ever project designed on Vectric Aspire and cut here on this machine. At least the first for me. Dave, the prior owner, had lots of success, but this was my first go at it. It worked out spectacularly. You saw those speeds, 100 inches per minute, just zooming around and doing just a great job. All right, a few quick observations about the machine after about 4 hours of cutting. The first roughing pass with a 1/4 inch end mill took about an hour. The second finer detail pass with an 1/8 inch ball nose took about 2.5 hours. And then the V carving, the letters took only, wow, that was really fast, 20 minutes or so. So with all of that cutting, especially during that 2.5 hour fine cutting pass, I noticed a few things. Not to be discouraged, but just things I want to take care of. So X-axis motor, which I did notice with all of this raster cutting is constantly moving, is getting a bit warm. So I'm going to put some heat sinks like I did on our metal cutting mill on that motor just to help it stay just a bit cooler. I did notice the X and Z motor controller were not hot by any means, but just warmer than the others. So I think I'm going to put a little fan inside the control box just to stir up the air. I'm getting plenty of air moving through, but that heatsink I think could use with just a little bit more air. And then finally, a couple of good observations. The motor itself, the spindle motor with that water cooling jacket, just got barely warm to the touch, and the spindle spun all the way up to, I think, 18,000 RPM on one of the cuts, and that worked just great. So in general, everything is working really, really well. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you really, really want to see videos like this, especially more projects from Vectric Aspire and this milling machine, definitely subscribe. And if you really want to be the first one to see it, just go ahead and say, send me notifications when new videos are available.